Hello there everybody, my name is John and this is just a quick disclaimer before we really start the video that this originally was a video that I posted for a family member that I am servicing this watch for, or family members in general, but I decided to post this video publicly, but this is going to have some pretty heavy edits since it had personal information in it. So with that out of the way, I hope you enjoy, and thank you for joining me. Fortunate and unfortunate things happening with the watch today. The unfortunate thing is this crystal is probably original, right? So 1975, 1977, somewhere in there. So there's a retaining ring, and it adds a lot of outward pressure to the crystal when it's actually in the case. It's on that outer line right there. Kind of where you see this outer line that's like a different color than the stainless steel. So that's where it sits in, and it sits in there, and it kind of adds outward pressure along it. And so because of that, and because this crystal is so old and it already had little micro cracks all through it, try to zoom in there, it actually made it separate as I used this tool to pull the crystal out, which is unfortunate. But crystals are relatively cheap, and I've already seen them on eBay, so I'll be ordering one today. With a little bit of an update there. Also, I'm gonna move this camera down a little bit. There we go. Move this more into the shot. So this is a special type of crown. It's a two-piece. I think I already said that in that first video. And yeah, I'll take that off there for now. The retaining ring I could probably still use, but they come with a retaining ring, so I'll just add that to my spare parts bin. I don't have a real tool for this, so I have to use like hand removers, like little pry bars. I don't want to do damage to the case here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a smidgen of tape, and I'm going to cover the tips just ever so slightly, so that there's a soft material on them that will not scratch the case, right? Oh, sorry, bumping the camera mount a little bit there. So this is just masking tape. Pretty easy to get. Pretty soft material. I'm just gonna cover the tips here so that metal doesn't interact with metal and scratch the case here. Okay. So this is kind of hard to do because I have the camera in my face, right? And I'm trying to get in here. Let's use this so that if this falls out of there, as soon as I pull it out, it won't do anything to the face. It just does not want to get out of there. Okay. Under the camera. Sorry if I get in the shot, but I got my loop on and I gotta get in there. Now with that extra material on the end of these things, it's hard to get this bad boy in there. I also don't want to touch the dial with my fingers. I don't want to leave any grease. Just goes to show that like just mere millimeters, it just affects how certain tools are going to fit in certain places. Just that little bit of tape is just being a pain. Okay, we'll try it with one. And it just doesn't want to give. Try by hand. I don't think I can add enough pressure with my nails, which kind of hurts. Ouch. Try another little piece of tape on the end of this thing. I think there are dedicated tools for this, but I definitely do not have them, and they're probably from Virgin, and they're probably terribly expensive for the one task that they do. There we go. Okay, so it gave way. Show you. That's a 2-piece. So you can see, I'm gonna try to bring this up to the camera. You can see kind of that split in the stem there. So there's another piece in there that goes like that, and they kind of interact like that, and there's a tension and they hold each other, and then enough pressure outward and they kind of just let go of each other. Okay. So kind of a pain in the butt. That's a little bit of a pain in the butt. There you go. Kind of show you what I mean. I can already see there's dirt. Put on my loop. Dirt on there, grime. Probably old dried oil, so I'm not entirely convinced that this was serviced recently. Okay. 3/1/11. So I believe this was probably serviced in 2011, is my guess. Which means, I mean, that's good that it's been serviced, but I believe they did use the original crystal. There's no way that crystal is... Wow, that's a small movement. Look at that. I was over here. This movement isn't fully assembled. This is my wife's. And yeah, they are almost the same size. I think that one's a little bit bigger. Okay. Now, this is odd. That dial is huge compared to that movement. This a little bit this way so I can get my face in here and get the loop in there. It's a pretty good looking movement. Looks like it has a reference number. It is a little odd that there's no movement number, because usually there's a movement number on there, but I don't know everything about Omega movements. I feel like they're usually stamped with that movement number. Maybe they didn't do it with that other one. Put that back in the dust tray. Move that out of the way. Okay. Now my question is, as with most things, that's a healthy looking dial. Let me grab my little blower here. It's got a good shine to it, so it's Still got a lot of life in it. There's a little like dust and stuff in there. I'll try to get it off with some Rodico or maybe a Q-tip. I don't want to take any material from it, which is always the concern. I do see, with the loop, I do see a little bit of pitting, which, you know, obviously over time, vintage watches are they're gonna just, it's gonna lose material. That just happens with everything, right? Nothing lasts forever. I'll show you what I mean. So that's a I'm pretty sure this is a 1977 Omega De Ville, right? This is a 1956 Omega Seamaster. I'm gonna move this so if I drop something, it doesn't land on the dial, which would be horrifying. This is a 1956, right? So you can see, I'm gonna zoom. You can see what I mean by like the little bit of pitting on the other dial. This dial, it's a lot worse because it's much older. So the patina, whatever you want to call it, the paint coming up off the dial, the little tiny minuscule bits of rust that kind of build up, or you know, there's a number of things that happen over time with the dial, and you can see this is much further along than this dial. This dial is extremely healthy. I am gonna see if I could zoom in more to show you what I mean. So let's see if that's a good shot. Yeah, and then I'll stand up here. I'm sitting in my chair. Maybe if I put it down, huh? It might do a little better since this is stabilized. Okay. So this is digitally zoomed, so it's not gonna look great, right? It's an iPhone. But I think you could probably see what I mean. There's a couple of spaces, I'll grab these. There's a couple of spaces that you can see what I mean. That's like one of them right there. There's like a little cloud, almost like a nebula if you're looking at the night sky there. There's some, and that's probably missing paint. There's some stuff right there. And then on the very outside of the dial, there's gonna be quite a few marks, because that almost always happens when you're servicing a watch over the years, over and over again. It's just, there's not a lot you can do about the outside of the dial interacting with, like, let's say, the case itself. I mean, it's probably not going to be so prevalent in this case, because when you place the movement and the dial back into the case, it sets into the case movement down. So just as an example, when I remove the movement out of this watch, remove the case back, and the dial and the movement come out from the back. So now when I put it back into the case after I'm done servicing it, it's actually, the dial is interacting with the inside of the case here. So it's like falling into it, which is, you can't really avoid it due to the design. So just kind of like the more you know type deal. So yeah, now we'll get to doing some things here. Do have some Rodico. I'm gonna see. Zoom out a little bit so you can see like a wider area, a little bit of a wider area. Happy trees. I'm gonna get my loop on, and I'm gonna see if I can remove some of these little particles. Yep, that came up, so that's dirt. And I think some of those little cloudy areas are actually the beginning of patina. And there's really nothing you could do about that. You could try to clean it off. Realistically, you're just gonna ruin the dial by doing it. You're gonna take up material, and the material is paint, right? There's a few things on there that I can probably remove. Not gonna worry about it right this moment. We'll deal with it when we go back to reassembly. But for now, let's see if I got my handy dandy universal movement holder. I have my, oh goodness, I have my Seiko movement holder. I'm not seeing my uni. Where's my uni? I definitely need a bigger desk drawer. Okay, move that out of the way. Let's see if we'll have a place to put this thing. Because I have a lot of like dismantled movements. Okay, that's perfect. And then we'll move these to the bottom. I'm not gonna worry about those. Those are basically old pocket watch movements that I work on, practice on, try to rebuild. These are all like early things that I bought, dismantled, clean, put back together, dismantled, you know, just to get a hang of looking at parts, picking up parts, seeing where they go, and then, you know, I started getting watches like it's my wife's, and I started to leave these alone. But yeah, I'll go back to them eventually. Some of them are actually either missing parts or the parts are broken or worn out, so I have to wait and see if I can find the part. Like this one in particular, excuse me, I need a mainspring for it and I can't find one, so eventually I'll probably come across one on eBay or something, but for now it's got to sit in the box. Now looks relatively clean. Got an old Elgin here that I got from a like a antique store that I want to restore. The dial looks really good. Look at the dial. That looks pretty good for being from the probably 40s or 50s. And but there's a lot of things wrong with it that I have to deal with. Missing parts, and with a watch from that age, 40s, 50s, it is really hard to find parts for those watches. And I have in the past bought parts that say that they're for that movement and they turn out not to be for that movement. So either, you know, you get scammed, or the person that's selling it doesn't know that they're wrong about the part that they're listing. Okay, so a little home for our Omega and its parts. I still need to find that movement holder. Oh boy. I feel like I just had it. Maybe I have it in my like travel work kit. Oh, I don't think so. Hold on. I have so much stuff. All right, sorry about that. Okay, do I have it in the travel kit? I do not. Okay. Oh yeah. This work's got to come to a pause till I find that. It's a fairly important piece of equipment. Oh, it's right there. Okay, I have it hidden under a tin. I have a couple of pocket watch movements that I want to size and then restore and then stuff into like a modern case. That'd be cool. And then the Flieger that I'm wearing that I built myself, I love this thing. I love it. I want to change the dial for like the holiday season or something. I think that'd be fun. Okay, enough distractions. Here is my universal, all metal, all new movement holder. Okay. So this clamps the movement down so I can work on it without doing any damage. And I should put on more finger cots so that I'm not accidentally touching this dial, which would be unacceptable by any standards. Got a nice little bag here. No sponsored buy. This is just me buying things I need. Okay, that's probably fine. Okay. Anywho, this is probably, I think it's the third Omega movement I've ever worked on. Pretty sure. Third, fourth, somewhere in there. Take this bad boy, right? Maybe I'll use the case. I don't want to, because that's metal, and that might touch that. Get out of here. I'll use the case cushion, because the chances of that doing any damage to that dial is slim to none. Okay. Let's go ahead and dig into our screwdriver kit. It's actually really hard to record what I'm doing and where this loop and like get in there and like really tuck in under the camera and be able to see what I'm doing and then make sure that it's in the shot, right? Oh my goodness. I guess nothing worth doing is easy. This is the, no, it's not. I was gonna say, this is the smallest screwdriver I have. It is not. That was gonna worry me. Okay, is this the biggest it gets? It is not. This is the wrong size. So since I'm so new to watchmaking, you'll see me like engage with the screw and really take my time with the turn. I just really don't want to scratch anything and slip out. There I go, bumping the mount for my camera with my head, which is gonna be fun. This is gonna be a difficult process with this camera in my way. I will tell you that right now. Not complaining or anything, I'm just stating a fact. That screw was extremely loose compared to the first one, which is kind of odd. Maybe that's something I will remember. Maybe it shouldn't be screwed down all the way. But now I'm like, what are the threads looking like? Okay, the threads look great. Threads look just fine. Let's see if I can zoom in. Threads on that thing look A-okay. Now, each one of these parts is going to get cleaned. No question. No question. Going to get cleaned. Okay. So now the question is, because I've never worked on this movement before, how does this separate from the dial? Can I just pull it away? I doubt that. Or does it remove from this retaining ring from the front? That's my assumption. Yep. Maybe I need two happy tweezers. Move this back into the shot. I'm sorry. Apologies. Okay, retaining ring, go away. looks really good. I'm not seeing any rust. It will get cleaned anyway, but yeah, I'm not seeing any rust really. Maybe like a little tiny bit, but get a little cleaner on there, it'll be a-okay. Okay, so having a home for this dial is a concern for me. Get my arm in the shot. You like the arm? But I think I can figure that out. I have a bunch of bags and I have some cases that I'll double up. So put it in a bag and then put it in a case, like a hard case, and then it's double secure. Okay. So no touchy the dial with the metal. Right? That's a no-go. So now we're back to the fingers. Back to fingies. Okay. So now, I'm gonna zoom in again. There's little screws here on the end of the movement, I'm assuming. Oh, maybe there's not. That's a first. Usually there's screws in here along the side of the movement itself that clamp down on the dial feet. I'll show you what the dial feet look like in a little bit here. See if it just separates. We're going to be real easy, and we're just going to do a little pry motion. Yep. Looks like it just comes away, which is a little concerning. But since I don't even think it has a space for dial feet or dial feet screws, I'm not going to worry about it. Our biggest friend with all of this is just taking our time, which is kind of funny. So now we'll use these bad boys. They're already covered, so that's good. Now that I got some space in between the movement and the back of the dial, we will pry. Not pry into our neighbor's business, but this movement away from the dial. See if there's a space we can safely snag this thing. Pull it away. That is not happy. Okay. Yeah, I've never seen that before. Put that back into the shot. Sorry, I'm gonna have to keep moving this thing around because I can't do any of this work through the camera. It has to be through the loop. It's just a lot easier for me. There's like little rubber or plastic on the dial feet. I've never seen that before. 1224. What does that say? Baylor Genevieve. Interesting. 1224. Maybe that's the model. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna pick this up and I'm gonna show you what I mean by dial feet. So those are dial feet. part of the dial. They stick out from the dial and they feed into little holes on the front of the movement. Put my loop back on. Which I'm pretty sure it's like that hole and that hole. Flip this over. And then, so there's your crown, which would be sticking out from 3 o'clock. Right, goes bloop, right on there. It looks like, yeah, there and probably there. It's about, maybe it's not perfect, but I think it's that one and that one. Okay. So space for the dial, right? Let's see what we got. There's a little bit of concern here because turning over the dial. Right, you don't see any extra parts here. Take my loop off my face so I can actually see the camera. Nothing there. There's not going to be anything there. I'm just pointing out. And then here, focus. Right here on this little cog in the middle there, there's no dial washer. There should be a dial washer so that it doesn't foul. This doesn't interact with the back of the dial and make this slow down, which will not keep time properly. Okay. Luckily, I have an extra dial washer or two lying around somewhere. Move those out of the way. Okay. I have this thing that I'm going to put the dial into. First, I got this extra little piece of metal. They don't interact together. This goes to scratching that up. That extra little dial washer. Back that up. Show you what a dial washer looks like. I'm gonna cut this video soon. It's getting long, and it's gonna be a lot of memory. Dial washer. The autofocus is not wanting to do its job. Dial washer. It just sits right there and makes it so the dial doesn't add pressure to that cog and cause the movement to run funny. We don't want that movement to run funny, because that wouldn't be funny. Okay, now that the dial is off, relatively safe, I'm not going to push this down by any means, but I'm just going to add it to that and then cover it up. Safe dial. Dial is safe. Ain't going nowhere. You can see it in there. Look at that. Excuse me. So, dial's good. That movement is small. I didn't expect it. I'm gonna pull this other movement. I want to see. Oh, they're basically the same size. Okay. Neat. Basically the same movement. I could see little tiny differences, but not by much. Good Lord. Pretty neat. Guess not much had changed between those two watches. My wife's is a 1965 Omega Seamaster. Ladies, of course, lady version. It's really small watch itself. Even the case is itty bitty. It's about as big as that movement is. However, as you can see from the retaining ring, that case is much bigger. So they repurposed a very similar movement for this watch. Excuse me, Mushmouth. I believe this is a Omega caliber 620, tick 620. And it's looking healthy, which makes me happy. Also looks like a relatively straightforward movement. It looks pretty, I guess, rudimentary. Which is a good thing. It makes it easier to service. It's not a bad thing that it's on the simpler side of watch manufacturing. So, I'm gonna see how. Looks to be running well. The jewels look pretty healthy and bright and clean, relatively. I do see a little bit of concern here. Okay, zoom in. Again, this is digital zoom, so it doesn't look great, but that's the best I could do. So there's a little section right there that it looks like corrosion or something stuck on there. I can't quite tell. I'm gonna switch out my loupe to my 20 times magnification. I get in there, see what that is. Okay. So for this one, I'm gonna pull this to the end of the table so I can get in here and see it. Yeah, that definitely looks like corrosion or something that's eaten away at the metal. Or maybe like a big scratch that somebody put in that when they were trying to remove that screw, although it doesn't look that way. With a scratch, it's kind of like a straight line. This looks kind of random, like a random pattern, like, you know, rust would do when it's expanding on a piece of metal. That's odd. Yeah, I've never seen anything like that, but that's okay. Okay, let's go back from outer space. So I'm picking this guy up here. I'll show you the other end of the crown stem. You see what I mean with the little clip that feeds into that thing? That's how it fits together. There's a little bit of tension that holds it, and then obviously you're able to turn it. Oh, unfortunately, I'm running out of time for today. I still got work. It's getting close to me having to go and get ready for work. So for now, we're gonna put this on hold. I am gonna go order that crystal and retaining ring. Obviously, they come together, so crystal. And that's about it for now. tomorrow or the day after, depending on what's going on with work and whatnot. I'll start to dismantle this, clean it, put it back together, lubricate it, and then put it on the time grapher and see how it's running. So far I'm happy with how it looks though. It looks really good. It does look like all original parts. Very little corrosion or rust or anything like that. The parts themselves don't look like they've been Frankensteined, which is always a good sign. You always want the parts to look like they have the same kind of weathering. So it's a 625. I thought it was a 620. It is it's an Omega caliber 625, which I was probably just wrong. I've seen a 620, 625, and then a 630. And they're all pretty darn similar. Little tiny differences. Okay, that's it for now. It's very interesting to see this kind of case. I've never seen this kind of case before. Kind of cool. I like it. It's very UFO-ish. Good looking case. Nice and healthy metal. Just about no corrosion whatsoever, which is nice. I think there's a little bit right there, but that'll probably be easy to clean with a piece of pegwood. Okay. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.